guys, welcome to the part 3 of reading comprehension practice of the first question. So in the previous part we discussed the first and second question. So in this part we're going to talk about uh, the final question of the passage. So the question is, information supplied in the passage is sufficient to answer which of the following questions. So this is like more than one response correct answer. Any number of response can be correct. So let's first read the option. Who did Doron think was probably the best actor? So is this question enough to uh, sub enough to like give a sufficient answer in the passage? So the question, let's read again. Information supplied in the passage is sufficient to answer which of the following questions? So are these questions enough to answer the passage? So the second question is, what did Doran think of Garrick? The third option is, would the author give a definite answer to the first question posed in the passage? So let's read the passage. Should we really care for the greatest actors of the past? Could we have them before us? So this question, let's read out the option. Would the author give a definite answer to the first question posed in the passage? So this answer is the first question asked in the passage. So at the end of the passage, does the author really answer this question? So for that, we need to read the entire passage. So let's do so. Should we find them too different from our accent of thought, of feeling, of speech, in 1,000-minute particulars which are of the essence of all three? So we talked about this in the part 2, the accent of thought, feeling, these are, and speech are the all three essence. Dr. Drowan's long and interesting records of the triumphs of Garrick. So here's Garrick, and we are finding Garrick here. So let's continue. And other less familiar, but in the hardly less astonishing players do not relieve one of the doubt. Garrick himself, as sometimes happens with people who have been the subject of much anecdote and other conversation, here as elsewhere bears no very distinct figure. So this is the part which the writer talks about Garrick. So what did Doran think of Garrick? Garrick, Doran actually didn't write anything about Garrick. He didn't write like Garrick is, how Garrick was. Just um, there's no particular detail to actually determine what who Garrick what he truly thought about Garrick's behavior. So for the timing, this answer doesn't look like the correct one, because about Garrick we just know like he was a triumph person, but and there is no definite answer to like who Garrick is in this particular sentence. So there is no mention about Garrick's nature in anywhere in the Doran's like records. So this answer for the timing looks like incorrect. So let's continue. One hardly sees the wood for trees. So one on the other hand, so the story changing right now because of this phrase. The account of Breton, perhaps the greatest of English actors. So yeah, probably the best English actor. So we are reaching this part of the question. Perhaps the best of the English actors. So uh, Dutch, the passage like really describe about the best, what Duran think about the best English actor. So let's read. Is delightfully fresh. That intimate friend of Dryden Hilton Pope, who executed a copy of the actress portrayed by Kennel, which is still extant, was worthy of their friendship. So Doran Little described about the greatest actor of English, greatest of English actors, about his friendship and let's continue. His career brings out the best elements in stage life. So these are like more details. The stage in these volumes presents itself indeed not merely as a mirror of life, but as an illustration of the utmost intensity of life. So here in the sentence as well, there is more details regarding the greatest actor. In the fortunes and characters of players' ups and downs, generosity, dark fakes, and most delicate goodness have nowhere been more prominent than the private existence of those devoted to the public mimicry of men and women. So here again, like the writer Odoran is like talking about, the writer is talking in details about best actor. Who, so there are like more details. So contact with the stage almost throughout its history presents itself as kind of a kind of touchstone to bring out the bizarre, the statistical tricks and contrasts of the actual world. So, what did Doran think of the best English actor? So, here Doran had like talked a lot about the English actor, about friendship, about the stage performance, about generosity, about like mimicry of men and women. Like there are like a lot of details. So this should definitely be one of our answer because this answer is applied in the passage. This should definitely be wrong because Ron like never mentions anything about Garrick. He just tells about rhymes and that's it. No like how he thinks about Garrick. So would the author give a definite answer to the first question posed in the passage? So the first question was, should we really care for the greatest actors of the past? Could we have them before us? So this is our first question, and does the author like actually answer this question in his following passage? So here he is comparing those actors with us, like in the sense of foreign speech. Here, the author is talking about Garrick and other astonishing players and describing few details of Garrick. And is like the question is like, should we really care about the good actors? Here, Garrick is a greater actor, and he's like caring about like some details one hardly sees. So, on the other hand, here he's talking about like the greatest English actors. So this also falls before us. So he's talking about like the details, like the intimate friend of Diren, and he's talking about like the stage of these volumes, but as an illustration of life, the details of dark face and this term of devoted to the public mimicry. So the author is actually caring about uh, the actors because he's describing the details of them. If he's describing the details, like he's actually caring about them because he's talking about his stage performances, his friendships, his history, and like talking about it brings a touchstone to the lives and tricks and contrasts of the actual world. So here, just like by telling the details of the story, the author is showing that he really cares. So this should be our answer. So thank you for watching.